The focus on Africa is shifting from deficits and gaps to opportunities, prospects, ventures, and creativity. Companies and individuals that have paid careful attention to the continent and invested there are well aware of this. Fueled by a young, rapidly urbanizing population, Africa is not only the fastest growing continent on the planet, but also home to most of the world's untapped natural resources. Africa is an emerging continent with enormous economic potential, triggering analysts to predict a nominal GDP of $2.9 trillion. A remarkable economic surge is expected as a gross domestic product of $29 trillion is projected by year 2050 in Africa. With all these positive developments, it is important to point out that it's crucial to recognize that Africa can't put an investor's patience to the test, since return models and time frames that work in other markets don't always work the same way on the continent. Even the most seasoned and smart businesses can be compelled to rethink their strategies. With that said, what is important is that investors now realize there is money to be made for those bold enough to help close the gaps and solve problems on the continent through their investment. Our video today will explore 10 reasons why now is the best time to invest in Africa. Before we go any further, remember to like our video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting trending topics and business opportunities in Africa. So without further ado, here are our 10 reasons why now is the best time to invest in Africa. Number 10. Booming infrastructure sector. The lack of infrastructure hinders the growth of imports, exports and regional business across Africa. Presently, good road networks, railway system, ports, airports, electrical grids and an IT backbone are all in short supply across much of the continent. Africa is plagued by power outages, almost 700 hours a year on average, sapping productivity, adding cost and leaving businesses captive to backup and alternative power options. Massive investment is leading to major upgrades and expansion at African ports and airports, but much of Africa's growth potential depends on in-country and intra-African road, rail and air connections. Roads and rail lines across the continent are few, deteriorating and overcrowded. Intra-African flight links have been limited due to a lack of aviation agreements. Businesses, entrepreneurs and farmers in Africa are hampered by a lack of efficient storage and distribution infrastructure. It is estimated that up to 50% of African fruits and vegetables rot before they reach the market. There's also a problem with soft infrastructure. Statistics and information crucial to business decision-making is lacking or difficult to access outside in most part of Africa. Being the first mover in a fast-developing market, according to lessons learned in Dubai and Singapore, is a substantial competitive advantage. Individuals or companies that can connect Africans and markets can prosper and make billions of dollars in these sectors. Number 9. African trade barriers has fallen. With the introduction of the Continental Free Trade Area, Africa's own mega trade deal, even the smallest African economies could see a major lift in the coming years. This new trade deal introduced make it easier for manufacturers to benefit from setting up production and assembly operations in multiple African countries. This makes way for development in electronics, machinery, chemicals, textile production and processed food sectors, as goods can easily be traded among African countries. The free trade between and within the African economic blocs would make a huge difference in the coming years, as investors have a large reach of consumers of their goods produced. Number 8. Young and growing population. Africa boasts of a population of over 1 billion people. According to UN demographic forecasts, about 60% of Africa's population will be under the age of 25, making Africa the world's youngest continent. In 2020, Africa's median age was estimated to be 19.8. Africa has a young population compared to the rest of the globe. This means that, despite the fact that the global workforce is shrinking, Africa's workforce would be around 1.1 billion, which is larger than China and India's combined. The fact that the population is youthful could be a sign of economic prosperity. Young Africans also like to consume the modern products, services, and technology, all of which benefit the investor. Number 7. Changing customers. Presently, the continent is witnessing the emergence of new expectations as its middle class grows. According to the World Economic Forum, in terms of consumption, educated urban professionals are young, brand-aware and sophisticated. Retailers and consumer brands seek to predict and drive buying patterns in fashion, home, and lifestyle products, but they recognize that, in order to meet demand, they need worldwide standard supply chains. The most powerful economic forces in Africa are small and medium-sized businesses, which are vying with global brands to supply this new demand. This means that both local and international retailers and consumer brands can capitalize on the demands and preferences of these Africans through investment. Number 6. Africans have much money to spend and love brands. In a recent research publication by McKinsey, consumer spending would exceed $2.1 trillion by 2025, while company expenditure will reach $3.5 trillion, totaling $5.6 trillion in business and investment potential. Before acquiring any product, most Africans prioritize quality and brand. According to a McKinsey consumer survey, roughly 58% of customers are brand loyal, and many are willing to pay more for well-known companies, with city dwellers account for more consumption of such products. Number 5. Diverse and stronger economies. For many years, African countries' economy were mainly reliant on agriculture and natural resources. However, these are changing in recent years, as African economies are now diversifying beyond commodities. The diversification of the economy is also aided by the improvement of Africans' talents to enable them to enter industries where there were previously no or few Africans. Countries on the continent are also concentrating their efforts on non-commodity areas in which they can compete. Every African country now has what are known as investment promotion agencies, which serve as one-stop shops for investors, dealing with registration, taxes and other aspects of establishing businesses in the country. Number 4. Digital transformation. According to Global System for Mobile Communications, half of Africa's population will be using mobile internet by 2025. In terms of mobile adoption, Africa is at the forefront. Mobile money networks, which began in East Africa, gave unbanked metropolitan and rural inhabitants access to the global economy. Presently, the usage of technology is on the rise in Africa. The company Alum, for example, uses mobile to connect with new African suppliers and farmers, while Pharma uses technology to eliminate inefficiencies and price swings that keep prescription drugs from reaching sick people. The sector has great potential, and there are unlimited opportunities for investors to make huge gains while solving many challenges on the continent. Number 3. Potential to lead sustainable development. Africa has the potential to look at what works elsewhere and then fashion its own solutions in areas such as energy, technology, supply chain design, and other areas. With no historical mark to break free from, the continent can openly accept new technologies and ideas. Africa can create flexible fuel grids that use a combination of abundant wind, solar, hydro and bioenergy, as well as traditional fuels like oil, to generate electricity. There is no place on Earth with as much vacant or underutilized arable land as Africa, where major agricultural breakthroughs and productivity advances in food production are expected. Business leaders are hungry for vibrant new markets, and consumers know the reality, as globalization means there are too few remaining frontiers. Opportunities for business expansion are constrained as the industrialized world ages and becomes increasingly difficult to trade in as a result of reasons such as regulation. There are far too few places where entrepreneurs and businesses with innovative ideas and a willingness to take risks can add value and achieve long-term success if they are persistent, resourceful and focused. They do know, though, that Africa is still such a place. Number 2. Strong growth expected. The African continent is incredibly rich in natural resources. It has huge, untapped reserves of natural gas and oil, which is estimated to be 10% of the world's reserves, and largely unexploited hydroelectric power. The continent is home to vast gold, platinum, uranium, iron ore, copper, and diamond reserves. Currently, only 10% of Africa's arable land is being cultivated, yet it holds around 60% of the world's cultivable land. As such, Africa has become a magnet for foreign direct investment. According to projections from the World Bank, 9 of the 15 countries in the world with the highest rate of 5-year economic growth are in Africa. It is estimates that Africa is likely to grow steadily by over 4.7% over the next 5 years, which is a huge stride. However, economists expect much slower growth in places like the United States and United Kingdom over the next few years. Number 1. Home to profitable companies. There are a number of well-known companies that are based in Africa, including South African Breweries, a subsidiary of Sabmiller, and telecom company MTN. Africa's total stock market capitalization now exceeds $1 trillion. According to a study conducted by 2 economists, Paul Collier and Jean-Louis Warnolds, African companies' average yearly return on capital was 65% to 70% greater than comparable companies in China, India, Indonesia, and Vietnam. As a result, the African businesses were rated to be more profitable. This means that investors who risk and enter the new high-growth and profitable market in Africa first will reap the highest returns over time. So there you have it. Those are the 10 reasons why now is the best time to invest in Africa. Do you know about other reasons which weren't on our list? Share these information in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video and want more definitive information about business opportunities and trends in Africa, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our future exciting videos.